Good evening. It is Sunday, September 22nd, 2013. This is your Island Blader speaking. Here's what's happening. The Jets won! Yes, indeed. 27-20 over the Buffalo Bills tonight. Um, what can you say? First of all, it didn't need to be 27-20. First of all, if the Jets weren't, playing very undisciplined football, taking 19 penalties for what was it, 163 yards lost in penalties, whatever it was. Yeah, um, so while you can walk out the head held high saying a win's a win, and I will say this. If you take the fact, with all the stupid penalties, you have to admit the team looked very good today. They looked very good. Offensively, okay, Geno was picked off twice today. One was an underthrown pass. Jim Leonard, ex-Jet, picked it off. Was that in the second quarter, I believe it was, and then it was in the third quarter, I think. The linebacker, I forget his name. Yeah, he went into coverage instead of pursuing. He's easily there trying to throw in an undercut, and the guy intercepted the ball away. Those were Geno's two mistakes in the game, and it's like, okay, you'll live with it, blah blah blah. Now, Geno's positives. The opening drive. That probably had to have been the best looking drive I've seen all year at these three games. I've seen Geno led a nice, efficient drive. And I'll say this about the Jets today as a whole. They exploited the Bills very well on third down for most of the night, most of the day. All day. And usually on these third down conversions, a lot of them were big plays. So for that to happen, it was great. The opening drive of the game, he hit, Stephen Hill wide open. That ended up being a big play on that opening drive. He hit another big play to Curley on that same drive, third down conversion, and then of course Smith took his own cause, took matters in his own hand, taking it to the house, 8-yard touchdown, giving the Jets a 7-0 lead. Now, another big factor of this game today was the Jet run defense, and today was one of those days. The Bills bring a rush-happy offense, to the table when you got C.J. Spiller, who always frustrates the Jets, and Fred Jackson, who of course has been there. And then E.J. Manuel, who also is a very scrambling quarterback. And the run defense, they frustrated E.J. Manuel. They gave Spiller nothing. They gave Manuel nothing. The only minus I would give him, probably otherwise an A effort, is because what was it? I think late. Yeah, it was late in the first quarter. It was the last play of the first quarter, where what happened? It looked like Calvin Pace had Fred Jackson down for a loss, and then all of a sudden, I'm thinking, yeah, we got. And then all of a sudden, you see Fred Jackson taking off, and it's like it ended up being a 59-yard run, and that led to a Buffalo field goal. But it's like, for the most part, they held E.J. Manuel out of there. They looked, they frustrated him. But here's where, and might I say this, the wide receivers also today on the offense, the wide receivers were, I don't think we ever saw a drop pass, did we? I can't remember. I'm so delirious. Stephen Hill caught a big touchdown today. Santonio Holmes catching what ended up being the game-winning touchdown in the fourth quarter, with about 9:45 to go or something like that. So you can't fault the offense too much for it, but again, you can't fault the offense for not showing up, because they did show up to play today. Geno Smith had 331 passing yards today, and Bilal Powell, yes, also had a big game. He had 146 on the ground today. He was efficiently moving that football, and before this game, you go out and you can say, the Bills' defense, is nothing to write home about. The part about them that scared me the most was the run game. And then Stevie Johnson, who was shut down for the first half, and then the second half came, and he came to life a little bit there. And, because anytime the Bills come to New York, when we play them at the Meadowlands, they always give the Jets a hard time. Even last year, the game that the Jets, the first game of the season when they blew out Buffalo decisively, Buffalo put a little scare there for a second. So, Buffalo always gives the Jets a hard time when they come here. So, But I mean, any Bills fan to also say that the Bills weren't even remotely close to deserving this game tonight because of these penalties. Okay, stupid penalties. How many times did I have to see Vlad Dukas? What was it? Vlad Dukas got penalized like 4 times today. After we're giving him like high marks last week for pretty much containing Vince Wilfork. I mean, Vlad Dukas became Vlad Dukas again. I mean, my goodness. I mean, taking 4 penalties. I think it was like 2 or 3 on one drive, almost back to back. And then and please, and don't even get me started about Kyle Wilson, please, because I mean, it's like this guy celebrates every time a receiver near him doesn't get the ball or whatever. I mean, you see him go, whatever it is, making the incomplete sign like he did something. I mean, how many stupid penalties do I have to watch Kyle Wilson take? My goodness. I mean, it was just like, I'm like, really? I mean, he took that stupid unsportsmanlike conduct penalty after Stevie Johnson made a catch there. When he has the nerve to grab him and push him down again. I mean, I know things got chippy between the teams and all, and the Jets absorbed the brunt of those flags by the refs. A lot of them were like, "Are you kidding me?" So, I mean, Kyle Wilson, please. And I mean, Rex is ready to bench him the rest of the game. And apparently, last week in the Patriot game, D. Milliner was benched for the second half. So, I said, you know what, sit him down. But then Darren Walls came in the game and was, sort of struggling. He actually almost had an interception twice, but that's beside the fact. But Wilson, please, pardon me. But so there was that. 19 penalties for 100. I mean, it was up frustrating. Offense, defense, whatever. Getting called for illegal contacts and everything else and all this. But the one thing today that got me so aggravated, besides the penalties, was Rex. Okay. Now, I like Rex. I defended him. I like the defensive schemes he brings. But some of his coaching makes you scratch your head. Because, luckily, like I said, it's fortunate we won this game. Because imagine if we weren't. Imagine if we were a close game and we were on the short end of the stick with it. For this guy, okay, and we were leading this game 20-6 and all the 20 whatever, before Buffalo eventually ties the game. They did tie the game because of all the stupidity with the penalties. But going back, okay, Rex Ryan, what are you thinking, blowing your challenges the way you did? I mean, you're scratching your head like. There are things in this league that are worth challenging and things that are not worth it. The first challenge he does was on a 3rd and short. I believe it was Tommy Bohannon. I forgot it was Bohannon or Powell. I forget who it was that had the ball taking a handoff and ended up just short of the first down marker. So it's now 4th down, and it looks like the Jets are going to go for it anyway. Rex decides to challenge the spot of the ball. It's like, Rex, the guy is completely short. Why bother? Why bother? So he loses that challenge. The Jets get stuffed on the 4th down attempt, so they turn the ball away to Buffalo. And, like a couple plays into it, E.J. Manuel finds Stevie Johnson right down the sideline, and it was a little borderline because his heel might have hit the white. You couldn't tell. The refs ruled it a catch on the field, which was like, all right, you know what? It's all right at the end of the day. See, something like that is worth challenging, especially when it's across the field. And even so, it's like, it was a little questionable. Fine. It came back to get him in the butt early in the 4th quarter when E.J. Manuel, taking a run up the middle, clearly fumbles the ball away in the midst of, the play gets, blown dead. In the midst of it, there's penalties, and I'm thinking, oh, it's a fumble! And then, little do we know, it turns out that, besides the penalties that were called, it turned out that E.J. Manuel was ruled down when it wasn't even close. But the point is that Rex didn't have any challenges to try and overturn the call, because he blew his challenges out of stupidity. Look, if you lose a challenge, you cannot cannot blow 2 challenges in a span of like 2 to 3 minutes. You can't do it. Okay? You lose 1 challenge, you're not getting a 3rd challenge anyway. Okay? So, I mean, yeah, it was unbelievable. Blowing challenges like that, that's just ridiculous. Please. You can't do that. You can't do that. You know, and it almost cost us. I mean, really. And all the dumb penalties and everything else. Like I said, 20-6 lead, the Bills tie it at 20, and it's like, are you kidding me? It's like I said, the Jets should have probably won this game today, if not for all the miscues that led to Buffalo points. I mean, really, take it away, and it's like, seriously. But, I also learned something else pretty interesting today, actually. It turns out that when Stephen Hill caught the touchdown, making it 14-6 in the second quarter, that was the first touchdown by a Jets wide receiver since November 18th of last year when the Jets beat the Rams in St. Louis. And I believe that was Chaz Schillens, Chaz Schillens caught that pass from Sanchez. I remember it. It was a wide open pass. But anyway, point being, I thought about it and I was like, you know what? A wide receiver hasn't caught a touchdown pass since then. Pretty interesting. But I thought Schillens caught one late in that New England game. I guess I was wrong. I can't remember. Bad memories. But, yeah, it was, I don't know. I mean, but, like I said, the wideouts looked very good today. Hill wasn't dropping. Hill was, never had hands of cement in this game. Santonio, again, with the game-winning touchdown, he looks like he's finally starting to come back into form again. And then, my guy, number 11, sorry that it's backwards, my guy, number 11, my shorty, coming up with a couple of big plays today. He did have a catch taken away, but whatever. That was before halftime, but whatever. But, like I said, the Jets are 2-1, and I think we expected to be 2-1 at this point because, again, these first 4 games, they have the Titans next week in Nashville, but these first 4 games are going to be pretty decently easy. And I think the Jets could be 3-0, They could be anything right now. Well, no, today was a given. Today was their game to have, The game, but they did it. But again, this team did everything to, it's like, this team did like everything to almost to lose with these penalties. These penalties alone could have really, like I said, the Jets were the dominant team. They earned this win today, behind Smith and everything else. But, the Jets are not good enough to the point where penalties like that are no big deal. They're not that good enough. Okay? But, they are 2-1. They're where we expect it to be. We could be 3-0 right now if we didn't score up the New England game. We're 2-1. Hey, we could be 1-2. Remember the Tampa Bay game. But 0-3, definitely not. Because I think the Jets earned this game today. And, I was very pleased with the effort. And I think we all should be. And no Buffalo Bill fan will say, y'all got lucky. Okay? Message to the Buffalo Bill fans. Your butts were lucky you were still in this football game. Because it should have been done by the middle of the third quarter. Anyway. With that said, this is your Island Blader speaking. Jets, Jets. Can't wait for next Sunday. Jets and the Titans. The run defense against, a real proven running back in Chris Johnson. So we'll see. Anyway, deuces for now. Have a good week. And, yeah, happy autumn.